Hello, and welcome to the Empowerography podcast. This is a platform created for women's voices to be heard and a place to share their stories, journeys, and successes with the world for the purpose of helping other women who might be on similar journeys. We are empowering women one episode at a time. I'm your host, Brad Walsh, so kick back, grab one of your favorite beverages, and enjoy the stories. Hello there, it's Brad. The Empowerography Live Conference 2026 is happening live and in person for the first time here in Toronto in April of 2026. This is your chance to step fully into your power over 2.5 incredible days. You'll hear from 30 plus inspiring speakers, join hands-on workshops, and connect with women from around the world who are ready to grow, learn, and rise together. This isn't just an event. This is an experience that will leave you motivated, empowered, and ready to take action. Seats are limited, so head to my website and secure your spot today. All the information will be in the show notes, and we look forward to seeing you in April. Hello there, Brad Walsh here, your host of the Empowerography podcast, a platform that was created to help elevate and amplify the voices of women through sharing their stories. Today, my guest is Jill Nixon. She is a Shamanic Prosperity Mentor, the founder of JAI Breathwork and JAI Soul Activations, certified in over 14 modalities, including quantum energy, healing, intuition, shamanism, clinical hypnosis, just to name a few. Welcome, Jill. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I am fantastic, and I am so honored and excited to have you here today. I cannot wait to jump in and share about all the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do, a little bit about your story, your journey, all the things, Jill. So with that being said, let us jump in and get things started. I would love to know, what was the first crack in the foundation or catalyst moment for you that revealed your life wasn't aligned? The moment that the universe started shaking your world to wake you up?
Okay, this is a really difficult question because I feel like there's been a few.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since I was little, I felt like an alien. I'm like, I don't fit in here. I don't understand. But really the two that set me on this, there was three things that really redirected me. First, I used to be a competitive figure skater, and that was my creative outlet. When I was on the ice, I felt like it was like God, source, divinity was working through me, and I could actually just express the truth of who I am. I got very injured and woke up one morning, couldn't walk, long story, and I lost that. Now I ended up working in an office, a corporate job that literally got gifted to me. I lasted a month there, and it hit me that our work is like a big portion of the time we spend on this planet. And I decided I couldn't do something that made my soul feel like it was like encaged. So I left that job. Everybody called me stupid. What are you doing? You're so lucky. You got this gifted to you, blah, blah, blah. And I decided to pursue acting, which was met with its own challenges because my family was definitely not they were not supportive of that. So I did go to business school at the same time as studying acting full time, decided I was going to New York, and really left the conventional path. Now, when I studied acting, I didn't realize I was actually learning to read energy and how to alchemize energy through my body, which is what I help people do now with the breathwork activations, etc. And then fast forward, finished acting school, graduated, got an agent, moved to Vancouver. Fast forward 7 years. I broke my arm. That was the next piece. Mm-hmm. And I had been doubling on a TV show. I was a body double for a really big show, and I was working in restaurants and auditioning. And when I broke my arm, I couldn't do any of that. Right. And that kind of set me on a new path. And I got gifted a meditation retreat by my customers. Now, when I broke my arm and everything got taken from me, I ended up like on my grandpa's couch and basically had a coming to Jesus moment, where my whole world felt like it was crumbling and I didn't know how I was going to pay rent, and all of these like challenges came up, and it definitely happened for me. Through that, when I went back to serving briefly, my customers gifted me this meditation retreat where my third eye got blasted wide open and I had all these visions and I started to see energy again in the way that I did when I was young. And that set me into studying Reiki and then shamanism and energy protection and all of these other modalities. And when the student's ready, the teacher appeared. So it was like each one was a different piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really those two moments. And I ended up leaving acting because I realized that when I was doing Reiki sessions, when I was helping people, I felt like there's nothing like seeing the shifts in clients. And then when I would get auditions, I would feel awful and just be met with, you don't look pretty enough. You're too short. You're too skinny. You're not skinny enough. You're too tall. Like all of these materialistic things, and not so much about the craft. I studied classical theater, so I loved it for the storytelling, which is what I still do now. I teach a lot through storytelling. I'm also part Native American. It's like an indigenous culture that we do that. But I realized acting wasn't the path in that way. However, it gave me a lot of codes for the work. So those two moments, like leaving corporate and realizing that so much of our life is our job, and I wanted to live a purposeful life, not be entrapped in this matrix just to make money. I don't do anything to this day just for money ever. And then when I gave up acting and left serving and this whole wild ride where, again, everyone called me crazy. It was like these pivotal points. People are calling you crazy. I tell like my clients, you're probably on the right path. Then they'll ask you how you did it.
Yes, exactly. That's how you know you're on the right path. People, you're nuts. Are you crazy giving up the comfort and the benefits of that corporate job and all these bullshit day-to-day metrics that people use to measure success and joy and happiness, which are completely false? It's all bullshit. You need to follow what's in your heart and what makes you feel good. Like you said, when you would go on auditions, you didn't feel good. But when you're helping people and being in and of service, that's what sets your soul on fire.
Yes, exactly. And it's the highest path of prosperity is our soul path, and prosperity all encompassing. Like people are like, you're so lucky. I have so many miracles. Like the other day, some random woman paid for my grocery bill. It's a long story. I did a podcast on it. I just got like my friend opened her beautiful Airbnb to me to stay here. Like it's like these things just happen on a daily basis. And I call it God provision, holy provision. And I'm like, I'm not lucky. I just am a living embodiment of what I teach. And I know so long as I follow my soul path, God has me, source has me. And yes, I have thoughts about money. Sometimes I'm like, okay, God's asking me to invest this double the amount that I used to make in a year into my business and my training, my skills, mentorship, traveling. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is absolutely bonkers. But when I follow it, the money always comes. The provision always comes, but it comes after the choice. Like when I moved to Greece and Cyprus years ago to study energy healing, I did not have the resources. And I made a choice, and it was COVID. So London, which I had to go through, was closed. Somehow I got there, and I made this choice so deep in my soul. And this is a key, like everybody listening, take this, that I was going and I didn't know how it was going to be possible. Just like when I moved to New York to study acting, that wasn't possible. My dad wanted to kick me out of the house. It was literally not possible. My condo that I manifested, it was actually sold to somebody else. And somehow we manifested, like co-buying it with my parents, like miracles, because I follow my soul. And so when I made that choice to go to Greece and Cyprus, is a crazy story. There was an acting check. When I learned about manifestation, I started out manifesting like all these commercials, right? And in Canada, you don't get the buyout if it doesn't air. And if it doesn't air within 6 months, you're probably not getting it. I made the choice, and an acting check came for just a little bit more than going to Greece and Cyprus and the training, etc. The investment of that, like, I think it was a day and a half after I made that choice. And it was a year and a half after the commercial, which doesn't happen, like legit miracle. And this happens with my clients all the time. They're like, I didn't have the investment, and all of a sudden I made the choice, and boom, like a check appeared in the mail. Like, it's like holy provision, but it only works if we're on path.
Yeah. You can't make this shit up. And could you imagine?
Okay, so my friend who I'm staying at her house, she's done like a few of my courses as well. And oh my God, she is also like a living embodiment of abundance. She just wrote her book, and I actually got to be here for her book launch after I changed my flight, not knowing it was her book launch party, which is bonkers. That's our quote. We always say, you can't make this shit up. That's literally Danielle and I's quote. That's crazy that you said that. Okay, sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's just, could you imagine how incredible and beautiful this world would be if more people followed their soul's path, followed their soul's calling, followed that fire in their belly? This world would be magical and beautiful. It would be incredible because so many people stay stuck in positions and jobs because they hate them, stay stuck in corporate, stay stuck in acting. They don't really like it. And they're fucking miserable. That's not a way to, that's not living. That's just existing.
Yeah, it's survival. It's Brad, this is so crazy you're saying this. You're like reading my mind. This is literally the vision that pulls me. It's like the vision of helping souls liberate themselves from all these energetic shackles, constructs, stupid things that we give our power away to. Oh, like when people make choice points through the lens of money or through the lens of what will it give me or through the lens of are people going to praise me? All of that comes from this deep wound. Most actors too. I've worked with a number of actors on core imprint healing. Most of what drives their behavior, and it definitely drove me into acting, was looking for external validation because you don't feel worthy. And then you get the thing, you get the role, you get the money, you get the partner, whatever you're giving your power away to. And then you're like, oh, it didn't heal the wound. In fact, now the wound is amplified because they're all amplifiers.
Yeah.
And then they have to go do the core healing. Or they just do it and then they realize, oh, I'm infinitely abundant and I am powerful and I don't need validation. And now you're a magnet to all the miracles because you don't need. Lack can only be met with lack. But like that vision is like literally what gets me out of bed. Just seeing everybody like these lies of scarcity.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Nature is by default abundant. Our divine blueprint, our divine soul's blueprint before all the distortions, the inversion, all the things that are lies that the matrix tells us.
Yes.
And this is what holds people back.
Yeah.
And it's the energetics. Like you got to free yourself energetically, which is why I ended up studying shamanic breathwork, which I call Jai breathwork now, which literally is my business name, my initials, my spiritual name. And it means victory, to become the victor of your life. And so crazy. My spiritual name, like I got like the whole rating and basically it means, and this is all synchronicity, like a coincidence of naming my business Jai. It was supposed to be Ascension Business Coach, the incorporation, and then it didn't go through. And they're like, "Oh, just redo it." And I was going to call it ABC Coaching, Ascension Business Coaching. And I still have that as one of my emails. And I just heard like Jill Alanna International, and I was like, "Oh, Jai. I wonder what that means." And it literally means victory. And then 3 months later, I got my spiritual name read, and it's all about overcoming challenges, which holy Toledo, I've had so many challenges, so many initiations that have carved me into who I am, and then teaching other people through my embodiment to become the victor of their life. And it's literally that vision. It's like these shackles, like just seeing people free. And if everybody was in their soul's purpose, we would live in a very different world.
We would live in fucking nirvana. It would be so incredible. Abundance is everybody's birthright, period.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
And we get to get paid for what we love.
Yes.
Like people, I don't know my purpose. What do you love doing? Oh, this,
Yeah.
that's your purpose. I can get paid for that because I have to suffer and struggle. And no, that's a lie. Stop subscribing to it and watch all the abundance start flowing in. And it's because I think about this so often. So many people, and it makes me so sad, are entrapped in these jobs and they're not actually doing anything.
It
They're
breaks
literally
my heart.
sitting at their desk. That was corporate. Like these people were getting paid figures. And I'm like, they're literally just sitting here being miserable. And then they go out and numb and they live for the weekends and they live for a vacation so that they can go numb because their base state is suffering. So they're still going to suffer on vacations because that's their energetic blueprint at the moment. And it's like and then illness. I just did a masterclass on this, like a free masterclass. It's called Soul Speaks, of how like illness, disease, all these things are literally our soul trying to guide us, redirect us onto the path. So any pain, people are like, oh, something's wrong with me. No, your soul is being like, this is not in alignment. I remember a serving job. I tried to go back for a bit and Source kicked me out. I kept getting injured until finally I tore my ACL. It was like, you're going to miss a timeline. And 2 minutes into this training, my whole body was in so much pain. And I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be here. But I didn't have the courage yet to follow my soul. Back then I was very stubborn. So I had to tear my ACL. So kick me out of the job and be like, oh, the 2x4s.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, we would live in so much prosperity. This is accessible to us. And if everybody was actually impacting the world, we would have to work way less.
Yes.
And we wouldn't be subscribing to slave checks
No.
of doing something we hate. And the thing is, the whole matrix is literally about, and I know I'm riffing here, we'll come back to it in a second,
okay.
but it's about siphoning energy and power and control. It's not even about the money. People who created it literally own all the money and print all the money. It's literally they're wanting to encage people's souls and have power and have a system of slavery. And we're like, oh, slavery exists in Africa, but not in the United States and not in Canada. I'm like, we're still in the same system. It just looks a little prettier.
That's right. That's what the Rockefellers created the education system. They wanted to create robots. You will do this. You will sit in a classroom for 8 hours a day, not go outside, learn bullshit that is of no use to you out in the world. You will learn it, memorize it, regurgitate it. We'll put you on to the next level. Then you'll leave school. You will find a job, you will get married, you will buy a house, you will have 2.5 kids, you'll get the dog, and that's your life. You will have nothing. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Period. That's it. And it's so much bullshit. Life is there for the taking for you. You can choose to do anything that your mind can fucking imagine or dream. Anything is possible for you. You just have to believe in yourself. You have to embody it. And you have to fucking do it.
Yes, that. And it's the belief and the energy. Like it's even illness. Like I should be blind right now in my left eye. 2 doctors told me I was going to be blind. And I had a huge scar that was like white. That was like a third of my eye. Guess what? I healed it. It's that. It's like the choice. The power's in the choice.
Yep.
And then you align your energy, your thoughts, your intention, and your emotions, which are literally energy and motion, to that. But most people are just so stuck in, honestly, ego and the thought constructs and fear, like those are correlated, and they're also not anchored to a bigger vision. And that's one of the biggest things, because if we just make it about ourselves, we're not going to do our mission.
No, we're here to be in and of service to people. That's it. That's why we're here. We're here to serve.
We get rewarded for that. It's like for me, for you, for all. It's the highest good of all involved includes that.
Right.
So it's not self-sacrificing, but it's also not just me ego.
No.
This is where God writes the paychecks. This is where divine provision comes from. Holy provision, when you're living in God's vision. And when I say God and source intertwined, like not intertwined, like they're the same thing, just different words. God writes the paychecks.
Yep.
And in fact, God always is the provider. We just forgot and we subscribe to the system of slavery. So all you got to do is unsubscribe and then clear all the lies that you were taught
and start again.
Yes.
Break the chains. That's it. When you strip away all those titles, shamanic, mentor, healer, creator, who are you? Who is Jill at her rawest, most unmasked essence?
I am a soul having a human experience that is very curious about all the things that we were programmed into and have questioned a lot and followed my soul. But I'm a human. I'm just like everybody else. Just like everybody else.
Love it. What was the first truth that your shadow forced you to face that terrified you, but you knew you couldn't avoid it any longer?
Yeah. There's 2. I think sacred rage. I was terrified of rage because of the environment I grew up in. And when rage is suppressed, it is dangerous. When it is expressed in a healthy way, it's powerful. It's our 3rd chakra. It's what drives our behavior. Like it activates our behavior. So that shadow, facing that and realizing that's sacred, and I can use this and direct it towards a mission, and it's actually healthy to alchemize it, to express it. My deepest healing happened in a shamanic breathwork, which I now call dry breathwork. And it was through rage, because I would always call in abusive partners because of an imprint, physically abusive. And this shifted that whole dynamic. And what I was missing when I had gone to all the therapy and done all the things and the forgiveness letters and all this BS that didn't work was I wasn't allowed to express the rage of what had happened. And so I was trying to heal love and light without feeling the pain of what happened. And as soon as I did that, I raged, like noises I didn't think could come into my body. Remember, specifically, I was in Sedona. People were like, oh my goodness. And it started to activate the rest of the room. And they started to rage and express themselves, their authenticity. And then I was like, this person, I'm not going to name names, but person in my lineage, and I felt their pain and their anger, and whoa. And then somebody else in my lineage, their pain and their anger. And I was like, this comes from a deep wound. They just weren't allowed to express it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had this unconditional love for them. And it shifted my whole dynamic with the masculine and with source, with God, because I didn't trust the masculine. And as I healed that, it shifted. So definitely rage, anger, and seeing it as sacred. And what we don't own owns us.
Mm-hmm.
So anything we're not willing to own owns us. So this is where, like, when people are abusive, physically abusive, for example, they haven't actually integrated their anger. They're still seeing it as bad, which means it owns them and it controls them.
Mm-hmm.
And the second thing I think is, and I'm still working through layers of this, my sexuality. I think the feminine sexuality has been so suppressed, which is why it comes out in very harmful ways in humanity.
Mm-hmm.
As a collective. So realizing that's my creative energy, and it's beautiful, because for so long I thought it was bad and evil, and I suppressed it. But when things are suppressed, they come out in very thwarted ways. So I was manipulative as well. And as I faced that shadow, all the manipulation just started to, it's called the purification journey. Just that part of me started to die. It was a very long, big ego death. And so those two shadows, I think, yeah.
The conditioning around female sexuality, you're not to be a sexual being, you're not to dress this way, you're not to behave this way, you're not sit over there and be quiet, just look all of this bullshit. Of course, it's been indoctrinated into women, and it's horrible. So yeah, of course, a lot of women are going to struggle with that.
Yes, 100%. And then we objectify ourselves, and then we get angry that men objectify us. And men are also programmed to objectify us. It's this whole thing. And it is, the sexual energy is the most powerful energy. And even like looking at the Bible, like they've taken the feminine out of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the feminine's the oracle. We have wombs. They're literal portals to other realms.
Mm-hmm.
And so if they can put us only in our mind and out of our body and not trusting our intuition, they control the system. The moment truth vibrates it's the highest embodied frequency, authenticity, loving all aspects of self. So when you say truth, and I've gotten reamed out for this, when you speak truth into a field of distortion, into a community that's built on lies, the lies crumble. And so it's dangerous.
Which is what we're seeing right now in the world. It's starting to happen. It's starting to crumble. And it fucking needs to. It's about fucking time.
It needs to happen.
Yeah. And it's beautiful to see. I love seeing it. It's great because this just means that we're on the right path. We're heading in the right direction. And then it's the rebuilding phase. And that's what we need. The light workers to come together and rebuild together.
Yes. It's the dissolving it's the crumble. I call it the quantum crumble.
I love it.
It's built on a solid foundation.
Exactly.
Integrity.
Yep, for sure. Can you describe the moment when you realized your healing was no longer just for you, but was becoming your medicine for the world? What shifted for you in that instant?
Yeah. Again, there's two profound moments. When I started this healing, my healing journey, that's how I got into this. I had literally tried everything, and I thought something was wrong with me. I had chronic pain, chronic illness, like anxiety, panic attacks all the time. I was a mess. And I was trying to fit into this box of who everyone thought I wanted me to be, and like this like perfect whatever. And I was internally a mess. And when I found somatic healing mixed with soul work, because I think both are important together, otherwise you get trapped in a healing cycle, which is why I won't train healers if they're not on the path, because they're going to entrap other people, which is going on in a lot of healing circles, modalities, unconsciously to the facilitator. It's a whole other conversation. But so I was like, oh my goodness, I need to bring this to humanity. I'm like, I cracked the code. And so then I started talking about it, and some people, again, a lot of people thought I was crazy. But then one by one, people started to come to me until they're like, oh, wow, this is powerful. And I mean, people still think I'm crazy. I am crazy. I'm authentic. So
Authentically crazy.
authentically crazy. So that moment, and then I remember being in a meditation, and there was like some mentors that I'm like, how are they having such a bigger impact than me? There was like this deep desire to have a bigger impact, and I felt like I couldn't. And I heard so clearly, they get that it's not just about them. It's about something bigger. So even the amount of like wealth that they were stewarding, it's not just about them, because there's so many people in the spiritual community that think they're running the version that money's bad, resources are bad. And so it makes people not want to follow their soul, because they're like, oh, if I become spiritual, if I follow my soul, I'm giving up this slave check that's very comfortable, but allowing my soul to die. And I'm going to be broke and not be able to eat. So they keep stay in the job that's not in alignment until they get cancer or something.
Yep.
That's like a big awakening, being like, you're off path.
Yeah.
Wake up. And you've forgotten about what's important: family, community, authenticity, connection, like all the things that we like sacrifice as a society for a job, a career, the corporate ladder, whatever it is. And I was like, oh my God, I need to be the living embodiment of prosperity and always, and show people through my embodiment what's possible, so that they start to follow their soul. And it was like a code just downloaded. And ever since that moment, like everything shifted. I'm like, this isn't about me. It includes me, but it's not about me. It's literally about humanity.
Yeah.
And yeah, so those two moments, definitely those two moments. And this is why, like, I'm very shy. I'm actually very shy. I don't like public speaking, like all of these things, but I do it. And not only I just do prepared speeches, but I speak truth, even when I get daggers thrown at me, because it's about something greater than me.
Yep.
And yeah, it was like a cosmic code that dropped in. So those were the two moments.
That's it. It's so much bigger than all of us. So much bigger than all of us. And it's for the collective. So when you look at humanity now, what do you see us worshiping, and what do you see us abandoning, and how is that destroying our relationship with power and purpose?
Yeah. I see us worshiping, firstly, money. And some people are like, you're contradicting yourself. I'm not. We put it on a pedestal. When I talk about embodied wealth, it's the frequency in which we embody, and it's our ability to create it, generate it with services. And it's not putting it on a pedestal. I think what people look like, I was talking to a client yesterday. Me and my partner don't make as much as this other couple, and the other couple is like a lot older, and they're multimillionaires and blah, blah, blah. And they're like judging us, and they're like gifting us some things, but it's at a pity. It doesn't feel good. And I was like, look, I know some people, I have friends that are literally billionaires or multimillionaires. And I also have friends that are on the opposite side of that. But I don't judge a person by the amount of money or what they're wearing. And I made a conscious choice, because I remember one of my best friends is Persian. And in that culture, she doesn't do this, but I remember hanging out with a bunch of them, and I was the only Caucasian. I'm mixed, and I wasn't wearing designer, and they like so judged me, and they're like, why are you hanging out with this person? Blah, blah, blah. And it's sure, I have some designer things, but I don't need to wear it. And my value doesn't depend on that. And I was like, I don't want these type of people in my field. And so when we when we pedestalize anything, we're giving away our power to it, like literally anything. So I think beauty, what society deems as beautiful, which they change intentionally every few years, so that women and men feel like they're not good enough and they're ugly and this and that, because you can't, then people just keep morphing themselves, which is a whole other conversation. But so beauty and how society determines it in that day and age, money, relationships, what people have accolades, what they have achieved, not the impact they're making, but what accolades they've achieved by being subservient to the system that doesn't care about them and doesn't care about the impact. In fact, doesn't want them to be impactful, because that's dangerous. Yeah, I would say these things. These are the main things that
And
we
what
get.
are we abandoning?
Oh, we're abandoning our soul and our power. So if I do something just for money, I'm not doing it for the purpose. I'm not doing it for the impact.
Mhm.
Versus if I'm doing something for impact and I receive money, that's a very different energetic exchange. It's circular.
Yeah.
It's not tit for tat. It's not I clock in, I clock out. So we're abandoning our soul. We're abandoning our soul path. What we're actually here to do, which is unique to it's all the same vision, but it's unique to every individual.
Mhm.
And we're giving away our power to something. Like so many people, for example, money giveaway. I'll give you a tangible example of this. If I were to make decisions based on I can afford that or I can't afford that, I'm now giving my power away to it. How I run my life, is this in alignment or is it not?
Mhm.
I don't care if I have the resources, because if God gave me a vision, he has to fund that vision, that mission.
Mhm.
Missions are funded. People are paid, but missions are funded. That's from the
Mhm.
mentor.
I love that.
So yeah, we abandon our soul and our truth and our sovereignty if we're looking through these lenses of outside in. What I have right now determines my reality
Mhm.
and my worth, versus my worth is innate, my sovereignty is innate, and I make choices from what's in alignment. Now we get our power back.
Yeah.
And now the resources after start to appear, just like the example of when I moved to Greece and Cyprus.
I love it. What's the most dangerous lie, in your opinion, that people tell themselves in the name of healing? The lie that secretly keeps them powerless.
That we are victims and that we are not whole. I actually don't even like the word healer, to be honest.
Mhm.
Like I train healers and I changed the verbiage to facilitator
I like that.
because it implies somebody's not whole. They are whole. They just
Mhm.
have trauma that's causing a distortion in their field. Whether they're healing money wounds or physical ailments or whatever, it's all caused by trauma. And it's not that we're not whole. It's just energy needs to move and shift. And when people, this is so dangerous, and this is also what keeps people entrapped in healing cycles, they're looking for a savior. Nobody is coming to save us.
Nope.
So when I do a breathwork ceremony, for example, or if I'm coaching a client, a mentorship client, I like the word mentoring better. I see them as powerful and whole and complete.
Mhm.
And so it's a different dynamic. It's power to power.
Yeah.
When I run a breathwork ceremony, same thing. I don't see them as a victim. Some healers are seeing them as victims because they're actually avoiding their own work, which means they need this pedestal to feel okay. And now it's that dynamic is very dangerous.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I remember one of my students / clients, she has her own healing business. Now we're using that word again. Now, and I'm so proud of her. She was like, "You're the first person I ever worked with that I didn't feel like I needed, but I wanted to work with you." And it's because I see people in their potential and their power, and I call them up
Yeah.
to that. And so that's the biggest lie, that you need to be saved, that something's fundamentally wrong with you. We all think something's fundamentally wrong with us. This is the shadow. If they know this about me,
Yeah.
then they're not going to like me. So I'm going to morph myself into who they need me to be, instead of this is who I authentically am, because I've integrated my shadow. And there's layers to this. And now you can look at somebody else and see them as a beautiful human being, because you're not. And you stop judging people
Mhm.
because you're not judging yourself. But yeah, that's definitely the biggest lie.
Yeah, nobody is broken. We just need guidance. We just need support. That's all. It's not not one single person is broken inside. You just need support in different ways. We need guidance from different people, and that's what it's about. And so, what do you think is the cost then, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, of refusing to meet yourself in the places that you avoid, that you run from, that you hide from?
What we don't own owns us. So the cost, we're not in control of our life if we haven't, whatever we haven't faced within ourselves is literally running our life, our thoughts, our emotions, our behaviors. It's if somebody hasn't, sacred rage. So third chakra, if I'm avoiding that, now I'm giving my power away. That's often correlated with addiction, because that center, that chakra, that energy center is now distorted, and there's stuck energy there.
Mhm.
And when people are like, "Oh, I can't, this addiction is running my life." It's like, you're giving your power away to that, because you haven't faced your shadow and realized that your willpower sits in that
Mhm.
chakra. And so you just need to transmute that energy and rechannel it. You are powerful. So the cost is everything. And then we got met with reflections of dis-ease in the body and emotional turmoil. And by that, I mean like depression, which is suppressing. Depression comes from the soul being suppressed and our emotions being suppressed, which are energy. So yeah, the cost is huge. And it's also
go ahead.
Your soul. If you want to manifest something from your soul, that our desires are from the divine. They're the North Star so that we actualize our potential, because we won't achieve that timeline if we don't actualize our potential. And through that, we learn soul lessons. Okay, go out for a long time. But we won't get what our soul truly desires. We won't actualize that if we don't face these parts of ourselves. There is no way, because we need to be an actualized version of ourselves. And under our deepest shadows, it fissures our energy when we don't face these two, which means when we send an intention in the universe, it gets all wonky, the signal. When we don't face these, essentially what will happen is our higher self will create bigger challenges and bigger reflections in our life. So through finances, through relationships, through health, through physical pain, until we like face the thing that we're afraid of. And some people don't ever face it, and they go to this thing basically like soul jail. And this is when people get like a disease that they can't heal. They can heal it, but that is going to require them to look at their darkest things. I'll give you a tangible example again, because I want to ground this. There was a woman that I worked with cancer, and she's healed now. But part of what was keeping her in that energetic was cancer's caused from deep resentment. And she wanted an out from work. She said, I think I manifested this because I didn't want to work and I needed an excuse. And then secondly, that rage, she was avoiding, we're talking so much about sacred rage. She was avoiding feeling the feelings of certain things that happened to her. So once she did that, now, okay, the soul lessons of all the places she was giving away her sovereignty to please other people in the system and for money and all of these things, she had to look at that and transmute that energy. And now she claimed her power back, and then she quit her job, and the rest is history, and she's healed and doing her thing now.
I love that's beautiful that she's healed. Is suppressed emotions are manifest in the body in disease. This is what happens. We do this to ourselves.
Yes.
We need to deal with the emotions when they come out. Instead of suppressing them, feel through them when they come up. Let them wash over you. Don't stay stuck in them. Don't stay stuck in the mud, but let them wash through you. Feel them. We're humans. We are emotive beings. Emotions are part of the human experience. We have to feel them and go through them. Just don't stay stuck in them. Don't suppress them. Don't bury them. Let it out. Like to your point about sacred rage, let that shit out, because if you don't, you're fucked. It's going to manifest in disease.
Yes. Yeah.
When you look at humanity right now, what do you think we're collectively awakening from? And what do you believe we're awakening into?
From all the lies we've been taught: suffering, scarcity, settling, sacrifice, separation. How they look separation. If they win, I can't win, instead of win-win. Scarcity, there's not enough to go around. Yes, there is. We just don't know how to steward and allocate the resources because the whole template's inverted. Sacrifice, I need to sacrifice myself in order to gain this thing. So basically, you just flip these, and that's like the key codes to everything you desire.
Just flip them. It's easy.
Yeah. Simple. Maybe not easy.
Yeah, there you go. That's the difference.
Energy field too. So the lies that have run the whole system, and where you asked me earlier, I said, like, I question a lot. I've always questioned a lot. This is how I've been able to see certain things differently. Kids question. They're so wise. They're so wise.
Oh, yeah.
Why? But why?
Yes.
Just do it.
Yeah.
And then we like them. Like, I don't have kids and I don't beat kids, but like in humanity, like metaphorically, it's we'll sit down, even if you're not physically doing it. It's like, we'll just do it. Like at school, the whole school system is a slave system.
Yep.
Yeah. So that, and I think we're waking up into true prosperity, true abundance, community, win-win, that there's more than enough to go around.
Yeah.
That the highest timeline is what our soul's calling us to do. Whatever we love doing, that's what we're meant to do. There's certain things that, like, my team loves doing certain things and I hate doing those things. Co-creation.
That's it.
And
That's why it's
union,
important to stay in our lane, because when we stay in our lane and we leave the stuff that we don't enjoy doing or don't like to other people who do enjoy it, you are helping other people by staying in your lane.
yeah,
It's I love talking about this stuff because the system has indoctrinated us for so long and conditioned us to believe the lack mindset, the divisiveness that we're seeing in the world now. This is exactly what they want, because when you divide people, you can control them. You can instill fear, which then leads to control. If we all united and came together, they're fucked. They can't stop us.
yeah,
And that's what it's about, is bringing everyone together. Our lights shine so much brighter collectively than they do singularly. And that's what we need to do, is bring more and more heart and like-minded people together to shine our light, to amplify our voices.
yeah, 100%. And this is why there's an attack on high frequency friendships. I was just with a friend that we were at this school and we both left. She wasn't allowed in class because she questioned, and then I started to question, and then we're a threat. And that teacher literally tried to pin us against each other. And we uncovered all this stuff. And I'm like, these things work in such sneaky ways. There's an attack on union, there's an attack on the family unit, and there's attack on high frequency friendships, business collaborations. It is bonkers. And it is for that exact reason.
Yep.
When we're connected to ourself and the earth and source, we are so powerful. When we're connected to others, we are so powerful. There's an attack on all of this, a disconnection.
I was just talking this morning about the importance of relationships and connection and community. Connection and relationships are currency. This is what we need. Enough of this fucking hustle culture bullshit, and you have to work hard in order to succeed. You have to show up on social media 3 times a day, 7 days. Fuck off. It's bullshit. It is complete bullshit.
It's crazy. I'm like, why do I even do social media sometimes? Because 99% of my clients have met me through at the dog park or the beach or the world. And I'm like, people are like, how do you find clients? I'm like, I embody my work and God brings them to me.
You
like,
magnetize them. You don't find them. You magnetize them.
This is where people are like taking all these courses on like all this manipulative sales, and they're like, it's not working. Like, I'm like, it's because you're not an embodiment of your work yet. And you're trying to do somebody else's soul path because you're like, they got successful doing this, I'm going to do this. But that's not your path. It worked for them because that's your soul path. And so they're missing this piece, the most important piece. And when you're embodied, everything starts to come to you. It's like this, you become the vortex. And there was okay, I always use this analogy. Look, because I work with a lot of clients on like abundance and prosperity. And they're like, but I'll have to work more if I do that. And if I start my business and I got to work more hours, so I don't want to make more money or whatever, but I do, but then I don't because it's going to require me to work more. And I'm like, okay. So I used to have 5 jobs. I would have 3 serving jobs. I doubled on set and I was detailing cars at 5 a.m. I can tell you that was the least amount of money I've ever made when I was working the most amount. I'm like, look at restaurant servers. They're not making the most money. Look at a cleaner. They're not making the most money. It's the business owner that is. It's the people. And here's the key, because everybody wants more prosperity, logically or illogically. But nobody wants to take accountability, and nobody wants to hold the pressure, be a leader, make choices. They don't trust themselves. They don't trust it. This is one of the keys. Leaders get paid more because they're holding the pressure.
Yep.
So many people, because I do a lot of somatic work with people, like they're at my retreats, it's all carried in the body. And so it's so interesting because you'll see people like transform, and it's okay, now is the time to, I make them do things like everybody's like watching them and they're like dancing or like doing this thing where they're walking in their power. And it's so scary to walk in your authentic power without all the masks. Like my mom was there and she used to be a judge, and she like started walking and with this like facade because they take classes for this. And I was like, meh. So I do that when I like start again, and I kept doing it. She's what? And I'm like, breathe, open your heart. And all the masks started to drop. And then it was like energy moving and like tears. And she's like, that was so vulnerable, but also so powerful, because our power is in our authenticity. The high, again, embodied frequency. It's not in these masks, which is why you've become a threat. But Yeah, I don't even know how I got in that
That's
tangent.
okay. That's all right. I love it.
As
It's just the conversation goes where it's going to go. And I just wish more people could and would step into and own their power and their authenticity and realize that they have everything they possibly need within them. It's all there. You can achieve any fucking thing that you can dream, that you can imagine. It's all possible, but we have to shed all of this bullshit societal conditioning and break free from those fucking chains once and for all. And
yeah,
then you are fucking free to do whatever the fuck you want. And that's
yeah.
where the power is. It's all there within you. And so, when did you first realize that prosperity wasn't just about money, but about a deeper internal fracture that needed to be met?
Yeah, I was living with this guy in Miami years ago, and I heard about money codes, abundance. What is this? And he was abusive, and I ended up walking out. I made a choice. And I didn't have a place to go, and I literally manifested one. It's a crazy story. It's the most bonkers story. This is where I started to embody holy provision before I even knew what that was. And I made a choice. I said, I'm never going to say yes to something and comply or stay in a harmful situation just for provision, because he was providing for me. And then I went down this whole rabbit hole on learning abundance codes and all of these things. And really through embodiment, it was less through like knowledge. It was more like me channeling and understanding. And yes, I had mentors and certain things, but a lot of it was like conversations with God. I know it sounds bonkers, and I realized, oh, I was outsourcing my power to try and feel safe with this other thing. But because I didn't feel safe inside, I was only manifesting the same situations that didn't make me feel safe, like an abusive relationship. That's not safe. And so I was like, interesting. And as I started this somatic work, I started to find safety in my body. And as that happened, I realized everything's a mirror. And so when I feel more safe in my body, more provision comes. The safety is mirrored externally. The rest goes on. Like even in business, it was like a healing with like masculine energy where I had my biggest revenue day the next day. And I was like, whoa. Yeah. And then I'm like, this is an inside out game. Everyone's doing it wrong. Humanity has it wrong.
Yeah.
And even I coach entrepreneurs, like soul-led entrepreneurs in a mastermind and sometimes privately as well. And I see these patterns and people are, I'm like, hey, why do you want to go to the next level? And it's at first, it's bonkers. The things that come out of their mouth, it's like, I need more safety. And I'm like, this is exactly why you're stuck where you are, because more money is going to bring more unsafety. Oh, when I had my biggest revenue month too, I felt so unsafe. My nervous system, like a full breakdown. And that was another moment where I was like, oh, this is an amplifier. Like I got to find a deeper sense of safety in my body. And at each level of stewardship of money, because I don't even believe we actually like own money. I think we're stewarding
We don't own
it.
anything.
So we don't own anything. We're circulating it. And so there's a deeper level of safety we need to find in our body first. That comes first. This is why I'm so passionate about the somatic work. And yeah, I just started seeing these patterns in my life. And I'm like, this is all an inside out game. And prosperity isn't just about money. And the presence, the energy at which my nervous system is calibrated to is what, like, we can look at prosperity in like friends and food and all of these things. And what I noticed was like the more present I got, the more prosperity would occur in all areas. And that had to do with my nervous system and my capacity, again, the safety in my body and the circuitry. So yeah, it was a number of moments. And I realized, wow, and it wasn't just, oh, I get it, like logically. It was like the evidence was, the mirrors were showing me.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel really unsafe. Money doesn't come to me. Like it repels. Opportunities don't come to me. They repel. When I come back to my sovereignty, they magnetize. Because now I'm saying yes to everything that's in alignment and no to the things that aren't, regardless of whether I think I have the resources or the skills or whatever. It's no, God doesn't bring you the clients that you can't help. God doesn't bring you opportunities you're not ready for. And so trusting myself, that is such a key to prosperity. And I define prosperity as pro spirit, anything that's pro spirit versus just, money. It's like literally in the etymology of the word.
So, what has shadow work taught you about prosperity that no certification, training, or modality ever could?
I'm so glad you asked this question, because I actually have had so many people do like a training that I did and think that was the key to, and I'm like, no, it's not. I've studied so many modalities, but again, I don't give my power away to them. If it's like a skill that my soul is asking me to learn, it's like a yes, but it's not like I'm doing this to get certified so that I can have clients because I have this accolade now. Most people don't even know what I'm trained in. I have so many of those, what are they called? Like certification things, and they're just like sitting in a drawer. People are like, why don't you put them up? I'm like, because that doesn't define
Doesn't matter.
me. It doesn't matter. It's skills that I learned that I can use as tools. They're tools, but they're grounded to a bigger picture. And sorry, can you ask the question again?
Yeah, sure. What has shadow work taught you about prosperity that no certification, training, or modality ever could?
That our power is in our shadow. And like I said earlier, what we don't own owns us. So the shadow is things we've deemed are bad. I am unworthy because XYZ is wrong with me. I need to hide these aspects of self and put on this facade so people don't find out the truth. But truth is the highest embodied frequency. So that our power is in our shadow. The places we don't want to look are the places we must look to activate more power, our potentials, our mission. And this correlates with trauma, but so basically the breath work I do is like it's like the embodiment of a shadow through the somatic body. Like all the memories that have been suppressed, all the things we don't want to see. It's like bringing love to that. And now it begins to integrate in our energy field, in our physical body, in our somatic body, not just in our mind. It's one thing to look at it. It's another thing to embody it. So our unique soul gifts, this is so crazy. Our unique soul gifts are actually sitting dormant under our deepest traumas. And so to activate them, and I actually learned this, I started this pattern and then I learned it was like an actual thing. I was like, oh, I noticed the more I alchemize traumas, the more my gifts open. And I saw this as they trained healers. I was like, the more they are facilitators, better said, they heal their trauma, their unique gifts get activated. And then I learned it's because they're lying dormant. And I actually channeled this part. I was like, why? And what came through was because there's key codes, there's wisdom in our trauma. I believe our souls choose our traumas. And the older the soul, usually the more trauma. It's like, hey, you know the lesson. And also that activates our mission, right? If I didn't go through everything I went through as a kid, I wouldn't be passionate about helping people to the level I am because it gave me, again, embodied compassion. And so there's wisdom as we go through the alchemical process of allowing that energy to move. There's wisdom that comes through. And so its source doesn't want our powers, our unique powers, I call them superpowers, our gifts to be activated without the wisdom that will allow us to use them with integrity, essentially. So that our powers in our shadow and under our deepest traumas and the places we don't want to look, our shadow, are where dormant gifts are.
And we need to wake them up and bring them online.
Yes, exactly.
So what does prosperity look and feel like now to you after doing this deep integral integration work?
Yeah. Like I said, I used to because I went through the whole thing. I want more money to feel safe, and realized that's backwards. So it was like this constant chaos and trying to get, and we see this in the collective. It was almost like I was trying to my serving jobs. I was doing them for money, obviously, to pay my bills. I was trying to get, and I thought more was going to heal this wound. And now I feel prosperity. Again, it's all encompassing. It feels grounded. It feels like the beauty of the present moment. Like the present moment is a present. And so it feels like presence. The presence that I can bring to A moment when my dog is doing like the cutest thing, or watching my niece or my nephew, like they're so magical, or having a conversation. Or last night, there was two women actually who were talking to me about suicides of people in their family. And I was like, whoa, like the presence I can bring to the moment is true prosperity. And this is also how we magnetize all the resources. So that's what it feels like now. And I think this is something we've lost, is this presence.
Yeah.
We've lost sacred reciprocity, not only with other humans, but with the land, with the earth, with nature. And nature holds so many codes. Half of my shamanic training was sitting in nature.
It holds so much wisdom. We've forgotten, and we bastardize her. It's horrible what we've done to her. And yet we still are forgiven for it. And we need to shift everything. We really do.
100%. And that's it. It's like we see this in the collective of the feminine being suppressed and siphoned from, and not just females, the feminine in all of us, the intuition, the love, the ability to feel emotions. We do. We're dangerous because now we steward energy, and it's take instead of honoring. And we do this from the land.
We need to give.
Yes. That's how we prosper and honor and bless. Okay. So this is a concept with like energy, just energy in general. So Reiki, if you put positive energy into a garden, it will flourish. If you put negative energy into a garden, it will like literally be distorted. This is frequency.
Yeah.
And so it's the same thing with the land. It's like when we honor the land, when we honor the feminine, the land, the earth is Mother Earth. It is the divine feminine. And the father is God's source, divine intelligence, whatever you want to call it. It is the masculine. And it's as we honor, bring more of this feminine energy, things start to flourish.
Yep. Absolutely. 100%. I was speaking with a woman last week. She helps people heal through microdosing. And we were talking about mushrooms specifically. And then we were talking about the power of that and the power of these plants that they are naturally grown. We were talking about how the pharmaceutical industry, because I said, do you think what will happen when the pharmaceutical industry gets a hold of it? Because undoubtedly they will, because that's just what they do, because they're greedy and evil and all the things. And she was talking about the fact that some of the companies in the pharmaceutical industry have tried to synthesize plant medicine, and the plants will not allow it to happen. They stop it, which is fucking incredible. Like when you think about that, the plants are refusing to do it. Just no. And so they've said it doesn't work. They said we can't do it. Now, I'm sure they'll keep trying because that's the pharmaceutical industry, but I just think that speaks so loudly to the power of the earth that it is refusing to let this happen, which is magical.
100%. And it's all these symbiotic relationships, and there's one flower is not better than a different flower or a cactus.
They don't look at each other like that. They don't, I'm better than you. No, everyone is equal. All the plants, they're all equal. And we need to adopt that behavior and that energy. No one is better than anyone else. No one is higher on the plane than anyone else. We need to realize that we are all equal, and that's it.
And exactly, they all have different pieces of the puzzle, different colors, different gifts, different uses.
That's it. They bring different gifts to the world.
And they teach us different things. And it's like an agave plant takes years and years to root, and then it shoots up like 9 feet in a month. It's rooting. Some people are like, things aren't working. Well, maybe you're more like an agave plant, but maybe you're more like a rose bush. They're all different and unique. You need all of them. And to work in, again, prosperity, co-creation, symbiotic relationships, it's so interesting with like big pharma because it's $1 trillion industry. It's all about power control. And they give people pills to cover up the wound, the symptom. And the symptom is the soul speaking through the body being like, something's off. I'm redirecting you. And so this is why so many souls are trapped, because they think something's wrong with them when really their body, which is the last communication, of the reflection because of the layers in the auric field. It'll happen in like relationships if we don't get that, finances, all these other things. And then finally it's like the body is the last thing, or we're going to soul jail, coming back, going to reincarnate and try and learn these lessons and get on path next time. And it's not even about the money.
No.
It's literally that they're covering up the guidance of the soul and the symptoms and like making souls docile.
They're putting Band-Aids over bullet holes. They don't get to the root of the problem.
Never. And of course, plant medicines and all these things, like and even like holistic healing, like all, it's all threat because there's wisdom.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. They did it with, what's it called? They did it with marijuana in Vancouver. They made it legal, but then Big Pharma took over all of it. And so like I don't use it, but I had a friend who owned a dispensary and like they ended up shutting down. They're like, we can't do this now because it's out of integrity. So they just sold the business.
Yeah. It's about control. That's what it's all about. So how do you define true prosperity? The kind that nobody can take from you?
Yeah. It feels like freedom from the inside out. Sovereignty, the ability to say yes to like what's in alignment and no to what isn't, which we all have this ability. It's just we're giving away our power to what the 3D world is saying that, oh, you have money, you can say yes to this. You don't have money, you can't say no to. It's all a lie. Like I'm a living embodiment of this because way before I even had a business, I started actualizing these codes and integrating them. And I was like, whoa. And then the business is just like a reflection of that. But presence, sovereignty. Like to me, that's prosperity. The ability to go take my dog for a walk in the middle of the afternoon. The ability to, I'm a guardian to a couple women in the Philippines. The ability to, one of them's named after me, send them gifts. The ability to express my soul on an amplified version of who I really truly am.
Love it.
Because prosperity is an amplifier. And so that is what.
Love it. So energetically speaking, what blocks prosperity more? Unresolved trauma, inherited beliefs, or soul disconnection?
They're all connected. Actually, in my breathwork, it's a mixture of trauma healing, soul reclamation, and high frequency energy healing. So source energy healing. They're all important. And the trauma is actually what writes the belief. So a lot of people are trying to rewrite the belief in the mind, which is fine. It's about 15% effective. But how do you get the rest of the belief? If you go to the core imprint, like I shared that other core imprint, my belief was men are unsafe. And so that was my reality. When I shifted that core imprint, I started to realize, oh, my belief structure has changed because the matrix of the belief is held in the trauma. And so if we alchemize it, that now A, there's an opening, but B, that whole matrix, like the neural pathways are pruned. They like dissolve. This is where it's painful sometimes because it's an ego death. How you thought the world was. I remember when I saw the money matrix and I was like, they lied to me. I was so angry. And that whole matrix in my mind started like dissolving. And I started to see this whole new paradigm. That was through trauma healing. That happened. And then I realized, oh, so that a moment happens, we write a belief. Give you an example. I had a belief that if I had any sort of overflow, I was greedy and a bad person. When I healed that, again, it was through trauma healing. And I was like, oh, that doesn't actually make me a bad person. That makes me I could be a more conscious steward of this resource. And and then I started to study it because I'm a geek and a nerd and I just love neuroscience and all of this. And I was like, oh, encoded in that energy is the belief structure. So instead of just going to the mind, you go to the core imprint. And wherever there is trauma, this is how they're all correlated. Wherever there's trauma, there's a hole in the auric field. And there's an aspect of the soul. It was my dad. We got in a huge fight. And he's, you're a spoiled little brat. And that imprint wrote that and then put me deep in scarcity until I somatically transmuted it. But what people don't understand, which is why I mix all three, is that an aspect of our light body and our soul will get left in that experience. So as you alchemize it, you have to call that soul aspect back. And now you have more of your soul, more of your light body. And so I think all three of them are important.
Okay.
And they're all correlated.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Yep. Thank you for sharing that.
So yeah, it's all of it, because where the trauma was, there's literally like stuck energy, and you can see this on MRIs.
Yeah.
Black. So now once that's alchemized, there's room for that soul piece to come back.
Okay.
And the belief structures in that. So you just do them all together. But if I were to say one, like trauma alchemy, but the soul revival part's also very important. Yeah. And the mind stuff is like last, but they all work in co-creation, and you can do them all three in one go.
They're all important. Yeah. So if you could confront every listener with one uncomfortable question that would change the course of their lives, what question would that be?
What are you saying yes to and why? Like really look at your life. What are you saying yes to and why? And what are you saying no to and why? And see where you're manipulating yourself to make other people comfortable.
Okay. Can you tell us all the things JAI Breathwork and JAL Soul Activations, when you founded them, what they're all about? Tell us all the things.
Yes. So it's actually JAI, J-A-I.
JAI, sorry. Yeah.
Jill International, which means victory in Sanskrit. Yeah. Sorry. Can you ask the question again?
Yeah, tell us all about them.
So JAI Breathwork, I used to call it Shamanic Breathwork. And then as I integrated, which was like a lot of the trauma healing, but as I integrated, you basically take people on like it's like an ego death in a 2-hour ceremony versus a multiple week ego death. So you can just learn that lesson and go through that dissolving and rewrite the beliefs like in a very short period of time. It is truly like the hero's journey in a couple hours. So as I started integrating this with high frequency energy healing and not just the breath work and soul revival, I shifted the name to JAI Breathwork, and it basically helps people become the victor, remember their power. Because trauma, these beliefs, like trauma will create distorted beliefs of self, meaning I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, like shame.
Yeah.
So when we have a lot of shame, what happens is people are like trying to do affirmations, which are great. But here's what happens. Your energy body is actually informing your mind. And it's like the energy is vibrating at a frequency of, I'm not good enough. These are the thoughts correlated with it. I'm not worthy. I'm not wanted, blah, 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 blah. And so if you shift the energy to a higher frequency, now the frequency of, we'll say the frequency of love or the frequency of joy, it's like life's amazing. Or authenticity, highest embodied frequency, loving all aspects of self. And now our thoughts start to shift. And so people would like get an idea and then they would act on the idea versus before maybe they'd get an idea, but then they wouldn't act on it because I'm not worthy. Identity doesn't act on ideas that are brilliant because they're not worthy. So this is how I help people integrate their shadow. There's multiple ways, but in the somatic body, and heal core trauma imprints that are creating their life, as I shared with abusive relationships shift. I've used this for money and distorted beliefs about money. I've used this for so many things. So many shifts have happened, not just for me, but for my clients with this breath work. Like it is truly, I had a client say the other day, I knew all of these things, but the breath work was like the somatic integration of it. Like it's wisdom. It's embodied wisdom. Nobody can take that away.
Love it.
Knowledge is great, but it only goes so far.
Yeah.
Embodied wisdom's the knowing. So that's what that is. And then soul blueprint activations. I actually started channeling these. So years ago, I was doing Reiki and then I was studying hypnosis and I was learning to manifest and create. And people were like asking me to teach manifestation. And so like teach it, but then it wasn't clicking. Like they knew in their mind, but they were like, why is it working for you and not for me? And I was doing a lot of energy work, like I said, and Reiki and all of these. And I was like, oh my God, what if I could create a vortex of energy? I don't use Reiki anymore. I use different energy healing. It's like source energy healing. It's a lot more intense, but also powerful. I basically describe it as like the God frequency. But at that time I was doing it with Reiki, and I founded this thing called the Reiki Manifestation Magic. And so I'd create a vortex of energy with Reiki, which now I do with source energy. and I would amplify the frequency around them, which is going to code their cells to higher frequency. And this is why they're both important. I'll get to that in a second. And then I would hypnotize them for whatever desire they wanted, as if it was already happening in that high frequency, and have them send that intention into the universe and then call it back in their somatic body, because you have to be a match before the things happen. And thoughts, mind, action, belief, energy, your frequency, the resonance needs to match. And then miracles started happening. They're like, holy Toledo, that thing that I was like, you were doing like the hypnosis and it came true, the thing I wanted to match. And I was like, oh, this is the key. This is like before I ever launched my manifestation course. And I was like, this is what people are missing, because they know it, but it's not embodied. And then I realized, okay, but what holds people back from vibrating at that frequency and holding that energy when I'm not just creating the vortex, right? And it's trauma. Any place we're stopped in life is trauma. So that's when I studied shamanic breathwork, because I was like, I need to help people heal the core imprints so that they're already naturally vibrating higher.
Yeah.
And now it's easy to do an activation. Then I started learning about the soul path and soul manifestation versus just ego and what the mind thinks it wants. And I realized, wow, our divine blueprint, it's basically this beautiful template of coherent energy. And so this is going to sound weird, but I started like seeing the energy of it. And it was like, okay, there's a story here, and started being able to clear it and activate certain DNA. And there's a way to do DNA activations, and there's different ways to do this. I do it in a little bit of a unique way, and I was like, oh, our soul path's like literally encoded in our soul's blueprint and our oversoul. So when people are like connected to this, like the idea is that their soul wants to like who their soul mission, essentially, what they desire on a soul level, they will start coming through instead of what the ego thinks. Basically, it evolved over time as certain gifts got activated and whatnot. And then it was like a miracle after miracle. And then I started doing them in groups and leveraging the quantum energy of a group, because when two powerful people come together, it's like, it's not 1 + 1 is 2, it's 10x, 100x, infinite. So you get a group of powerful souls together who are doing the work. I call in the source energy. And then I figured out a way to guide people that was not necessarily what exactly they wanted to manifest, but to guide them so I could do it for groups. Of course, I still do like one-on-ones as well. But yeah, and this is like one of the things I do at my retreats. And so both are important, because if we don't deal with the trauma, the frequency can only go so high, and it's not going to be anchored in. But once the traumas are alchemized, now you can hold higher frequencies. So that's how those were developed.
Love it. So if you could transmit one frequency into every listener, one vibration that would open the door to their dormant potential, what would it be?
The frequency of truth, because authenticity is the highest embodied frequency, which is the frequency of truth. They're synonymous. So when you speak truth into a field, or when you walk in, I'm a walking trigger. Why? Because I've done so much of this somatic work that when people are trying to hide aspects of themselves, my light body essentially will illuminate. Like I can see what's going on, even if I don't say anything, which I don't often unless I'm invited, because I'm a projector. But the light literally illuminates all the shadows, all the distortions. Truth loves to be questioned because it's a lighthouse. It loves to be questioned. There's nothing to hide. Distortion, lies, trickery, manipulation hate to be questioned. Yeah. Because it illuminates the truth. So the frequency of truth cuts through all illusions, all lies, all distortions. That would be the frequency. That is your power, and that is your potential. And this is why the shadow work is so important, and like the alchemical, the embodied shadow work, because now you stop giving your power away. And of course, there's different levels of this, but you stop giving your power away to all these things outside of you. Yeah. And it's like the lies, like I'll give you, again, I want to ground this. I'll give you an example. If I think I need to self-sacrifice in order for provision, now I'm going to have like a slave check and do things that are not in alignment with my soul, and sit in office and whatever, or like work at a serving restaurant. And that, nothing wrong with that. I loved serving, but I wasn't impacting people in the way I am now. Yeah, sure. Like people are like, oh, you're like really beautiful energy, but like I wasn't causing a big impact in the
Right.
collective. Now I've started to do that in my work. And so if that is a lie, I don't need a self-sacrifice in order for provision. But the frequency of truth, as we come back to our divine remembrance of God, source, divinity, like that is the frequency of truth, of coherence. Those lies start to dissolve. Those imprints start to literally alchemize. This is why when I bring in like frequency, and whether it's in a breathwork or an activation, sometimes people just start to cry or energy's just getting released. Those distortions are literally getting alchemized because of that frequency. Even I remember I did this pilot project for these things called, they're like scalar frequency machines, and I sleep in them like every few months. My friend has them in her place, and you can rent out the basement.
Okay.
Like sometimes they'll just start crying because the frequency is so high that it's just alchemizing trauma. And so the frequency of truth will clear all distortions, all illusions, all the lies you're telling yourself that you're not good enough, that you're not worthy, that you're not wanted, that you don't have a purpose. Like all of that will get dissolved in in the frequency of truth. And this is why I encourage people to spend time with other people who are actually doing this work and who are consciously like working through their stuff. Like I'm in a mastermind right now, like a female mastermind. And I definitely got imposter syndrome before I joined because I'm like, whoa, they're like way ahead of me. And literally my whole system recalibrated when I joined because I'm in that energy field now. And so it's really important to spend time and around those people who are actually on soul path and are actually causing an impact and going against the systems of slavery, I call them, because then you start to become that frequency. You start to take risks. You start to follow the soul path. It's really hard and I have a lot of friends that are very, I call them normies. They're like very in like the 3D matrix, and it's fine. But I had to take some space on at the beginning of my path, because if that's all you're around, that's how you think, that's how you act,
that's what you will become. Yep, exactly.
Yes. And as it's anchored now, it's okay, I can go into both worlds.
Right.
But it's taken years of anchoring these codes in. And if I spend too much time only around that, then I forget my path, my power, my purpose. And then I'm like, oh, like tap into the mastermind, tap into this community. You know what I mean? And then it's okay, cool. Remember,
I'm back on path now.
I'm back on path.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
What does freedom mean to you at the very deepest level, beyond recognition, money, status?
It's sovereignty. Again, I'm going to go back to saying yes to what is in soul alignment and saying no to what is not. That's freedom.
How do you define? Sorry, go ahead.
And this is the same code that I just said, but following my soul, no matter what, that's freedom.
Yeah.
Having the faith to do that.
And that takes a lot of strength and courage to do that.
Yeah.
For sure.
And initiations.
Yes.
Like I said, there was times where I walked out of that ex's place in Miami and I did not have a place to sleep, and God provided. But it has been this is really important. I want to highlight this because so many people, they're like, you're so lucky you get to travel and all these things. And I'm like, I'm going where my soul guided me. Like my human did not want to leave Vancouver for 2.5 months. And my soul was guiding me to all these places. And like, whoa, this is where soul contracts come in too. Because the amount of people, I met this gentleman who, I have a client who healed autoimmune, and she's creating a course and guiding clients to heal that naturally. She tried everything that didn't work for 8 years until she found what did work, holistic healing. And now she's helping people with that. His niece, literally, I met him at this restaurant so randomly right by the airport. Like his niece, and then there was another thing that happened, but his niece has been struggling with this for many years. And then somebody got diagnosed with cancer, and one of my mentors helps people naturally heal cancer. And so you can't make this stuff up. These are soul contracts. And what people don't get, they don't get that this path requires courage.
For sure it does. Absolutely.
It literally requires courage. Like I didn't have the resources to leave for 2 months after I just made these investments in my business, which I made those investments before I actually had the money. Now I've calibrated my nervous system and built this relationship with God, and I can tap in and tune in and see if something's actually in soul alignment or if it's my ego. But if it's in soul alignment and God's telling me to do something, he's going to provide.
Yeah.
And I know that is fact now. Nobody can tell me otherwise because I've had too many miracles. But that I had to leave that. Okay, so this is what happened with that ex. I left one night and I went across the way and I was crying and I had me and my dog. All my stuff was still there. These two ladies come up and they literally gift me their hotel room because they see me crying and they're like, what are you doing? And like, I didn't have any money. Like that was like liquid at that time. I actually couldn't even, this is so crazy. I actually got locked out of my investments when I was traveling too. So I couldn't even pull like an emergency fund or anything. And I made that choice and a hotel room was provided for. I went back to the next day to get my stuff. It was crazy. Left, was sitting on the beach. And I prayed and I said, God, help me. Like, if you are real, show me. Because at this time I had faith, but not enough. And I said, and I'm like, if you are real, show me. And show me I made the right choice. I just did another prayer like this and it was bonkers what happened in terms of like relationship. And literally I get a text by these crypto people that I met. And I met 3 of them separately. One right before I moved to Costa Rica a while back. I got gifted this ticket by a friend in Vancouver. It was like the weirdest synchronicity. And they're like, we're going to Puerto Rico. Can you feed the fish in our crypto mansion? And I'm like, yes, absolutely. Actually, that would be great because I didn't really know I was in sleep tonight. And then they're like, liked my energy because there was a lot of chaos in the house. And they're like, we don't fight when you're here. Can you just stay in the spare bedroom? And I was like, okay. But do you know how much courage that took to walk out of there? Literally, and it wasn't just me, it was me and my dog.
Yeah.
Like the soul that I care about probably more than anybody on this planet. And so people are all the time, they're not wanting to bet on themselves and they're not wanting to trust source and build that relationship. They're like, oh, I can't invest $100. What if it doesn't come back? And I'm like, I've invested well over $500,000 in my business now. I used to make 20 grand a year. Like, it makes no logical sense.
Yeah.
And I get that. I circulate it and I circulate it in ways that are going to help me and help humanity. And when I'm helped and I'm supported, guess what? So is humanity.
Yep.
So I look at the investment in a mastermind or a private mentor that is in alignment. I'm not saying just invest in anybody, like definitely do your due diligence.
Yeah, of course.
Of bad investments. The first big investment I made, it was 15 grand in this course. And this is actually how I met Daniela. I was in this course and we're like, it was not a good course. It was just not good. We both dropped it. But we're like, oh, we were actually meant to meet. And that's why that investment had to happen. You never know. There's always a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's like, it's still scary. It is still scary. I invested in that mastermind. I didn't have that money liquid in my bank. I just put it on my credit card and I'm not available for credit card debt. So the money came like to the day I had to pay the credit card. It was I did a podcast. I'm like, I'm commanding a quantum leap. And then I invested in a 5-figure private mentor when I had already invested multiple 5 figures in this mastermind. And God was like painful. And I did a story on it. And I'm like, I don't have the money yet, but it's going to come. And I did a part 2 and I'm like, God over delivered. And then God was like, go on this trip. And and then miracles happen. Like I got locked in my bank account because I'm in the States and I didn't tell my bank I was leaving. And then this woman, like, I was on the phone with my bank and she just paid for the grocery bill. I'm like, and then someone else was like, oh, you're going to stay in Airbnb? Like, why don't you just, my friend in California, like, why don't you just stay here? We have a spare bedroom. Like all of these things that I didn't expect. And I also wasn't trying to get. Yeah. I wasn't take. It's so many people are wanting to learn abundance codes to take. It's like we take from the earth. We take from the feminine. That's not the code. No. It's like, source is like, wrong code. You're not getting provided for because you're in entitlement. Wrong code.
For sure.
How can I offer? Yep. And how can I create a sacred reciprocity with that? Yes. And sometimes I offer and there is no investment in that. And other times there is a low ticket investment or a high ticket investment. And I also see why that's important because if a client, I can give, so I've tracked this. The clients that invest more shift more because they're putting their energy called money into the thing and they're valuing it. Yeah. And then they actually show up and do the work. Absolutely. And so a lot of coaches too don't see this or mentors. They're like, oh, like they're feeling guilty and they're wondering why nobody's signing up because they're not seeing how it's of the best for a client too. But it's also important for me to do low ticket offerings. I have a membership that's $222 a month. When I do promos, it's $111 a month. tens of thousands of dollars of courses on the back end of that I just put in there, plus 2 live monthly calls, like energy work, breath work, activations, Q&A, like you name it. Like that container, somebody else would charge like 25 grand for that for a year.
Yeah.
I'm not, but also I see how people need resources to get to different levels. And then there's
Exactly.
different levels where I can serve people at closer proximity that are ready. And some people will never get there because they're not willing to face the shadow and do the work, the inner work. And
That's what it is. It's the inner work.
it is the inner work. So yes, it is. That's the piece I think so many people are missing, that they're wanting it to be easy and they're not wanting to have courage.
Yeah.
And you cannot, even doing a shamanic breath work, like a Jai breath work, I always tell people, I'm like, when they really go deep, requires courage. I had a girl in my membership that her dad's suicide came up for her to grieve. She hadn't grieved her death since he's passed. And I think it was like 10 years ago or something. It will bring up your deepest traumas, your deepest shadows, all the things that you've been avoiding. So that requires courage. So even in the alchemical process, like not even like talking about money and investments, that requires courage.
Yep.
But most people are not wanting to face that because they have been programmed that it should be easy and that it's simple, but it's not easy. And it's almost this level of entitlement. We have to earn things from source, from God. And what I mean by that is, I don't like that word in terms of money, like earning it, but we have to be embodied in the things that we want to teach or the path that we want to go on. And so if we're not willing to do the work in that way, then source isn't going to bring, there's a reason clients find me.
Yep, for sure. You're magnetizing them. Absolutely.
Yes. And that requires embodiment. That requires me to do my work. Anytime I like try and slack off and I'm like, oh, no, let's just stop for a bit. It's all the holy provision stops. And I'm like, oh, let's get back.
Yes, we have to get back on track. So how do you define success? What does that word mean to you?
I think success is I think the highest path of success is the soul path, which is also the hardest path. And by that, the one that requires the most courage, because you're going against all the program. You're going against everything that you've been indoctrinated into. And you have to stop looking for validation outside because you won't get it.
Yeah, for sure.
At least not right away.
Yeah.
So success to me is fulfillment.
Love
it is everything your soul truly wants.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the ego. It's that feeling of, whoa, life is moving through me. Deep gratitude, deep presence, causing an impact. I think causing an impact is like the most gratifying feeling. It's what keeps me going. When I hear clients, like they get the click, they get the pop, they get the win, they get the miracle. Like nothing brings me more joy than them experiencing miracles.
Yeah.
Yes. Because they've done the work to get there.
That's it.
And that is fulfillment.
Yeah.
Soul fulfillment, though, not like the fulfillment of what society tells us we need to feel good inside. Like the true feeling of feeling whole and complete, and like you're doing something that's you're living a purpose-driven life that is beyond.
What does the word empowerment mean to you?
Remembering that we're the victor and creator of our life, and remembering our sovereignty.
Okay, we're going to jump into a little rapid fire section. So the next grouping of questions just be 1, 2, 3 word answer type thing. Okay. What is your favorite place on earth?
Hawaii.
One of your secret or hidden talents?
Seeing timelines and how one choice point will either collapse or activate a timeline.
If you could teach the world one thing, what would it be?
Sovereignty.
What is one of your guilty pleasures?
Chocolate.
Of course.
I love chocolate.
One word that sums up your mindset.
I was going to say sovereignty again, but freedom.
Okay. One book that changed your life.
The Dynamic Laws of Prosperity.
What is one word that defines the woman you're becoming?
Authentic. Authenticity.
That concludes our rapid fire section. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. If you were to introduce yourself to me without mentioning your occupation, where you're from, your ethnicity, your religion, all the day-to-day bullshit markers that we use in life, how would you introduce yourself to me?
I love this question because I don't like pigeonholing myself. My name is Jill. I'm a curious being. I love questioning things. I love creating miracles. I love helping people remember their power. I love remembering my power myself because sometimes I forget. And I believe if we ask the right questions and we're willing to do the guidance that's given, usually from our higher self or source, and mirrored sometimes by a mentor, that we can truly do anything in our life. And I think we're here to remember our power and who we are, and to really connect with other human beings.
Love it.
Other souls.
If you had the opportunity to sit down and have a 1-hour conversation with one woman, any woman in the world, who would it be and why?
It would be my future self, who's actualized the things that I am consciously intending and recalibrating to actualize.
I love that answer. Love it. If you could go back and give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that piece of advice be?
Everything happens for a reason. And the reason will, looking back, it will all make sense. One more thing came through for that. The adversity that I would tell her, the adversity that you are facing, there is a purpose way beyond yourself for this that you can't even fathom. Because my childhood was beautiful in a lot of ways, but it was very difficult. And I don't believe I would be doing the work today had I not. I know I wouldn't be doing the work today had I not gone through that. And this is something I want to share with anybody who's going through something difficult. You're getting carved into the version of you. There's a reason that you're going through that on a soul level that is directly correlated with your purpose. And you will one day look back and say, thank goodness I went through that, because it made me who I am today.
Love it. Lastly, if you were to deliver your last 30-second speech to the world, your corner of the world, your tribe, your people, what would that last 30 seconds sound like? What words of wisdom would you impart?
Stop looking externally for all the answers. Come back to yourself. Trust your wisdom. Trust where your soul is guiding you. It won't make sense in the moment. It will only make sense looking back. The dots connect looking back. The soul path, the guidance, is the highest fulfilling path. It is the path of the highest prosperity in all areas of your life, and the most fulfilling path. And the pieces of the puzzle come one by one. It won't make logical sense, but follow it. Your soul is so much wiser. It's like a bird's eye view versus the human view. We can't see the bird's eye view. It's the guidance that will get you there.
Beautiful. Jill, thank you so much for taking and making the time today to share, to allow me, to invite me in to share in your story, your journey, and the beautiful light you put out into the world through the work you do. It was an absolute honor and pleasure to have the opportunity to sit down and speak with you and share in this. I am so grateful to call you a member of the Empowerography community, to call you a friend. I have thoroughly enjoyed every moment of our conversation. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me here, Brad. It was so fun. So fun. I could talk to you for hours and hours.
Yes, I absolutely loved it. It was powerful. It was beautiful, inspiring. We're on the same wavelength. It was just, so good. Thank you so much, Jill.
Can I share one more code that's coming through? I'll be quick.
Sure.
Okay. When we're about to do something impactful or go through a breakthrough or whatever, we will be met with challenges and initiations. Today was a perfect example. The Wi-Fi wasn't working. My hotspot wasn't working. I was like, oh no, this podcast has been planned for a while. And like literally, and I was like, Jill, come back to your power. I could have let that be a sign that I'm not on path, or I'm not like, no, it's like, I know this game so well because I've been playing it for a while. It was an initiation. It was a test. It was like, how devoted is she? How committed is she? Is she going to figure this out? I had to end up like restarting my computer, change a set. Like it was like, and everything was working perfectly yesterday when I recorded a different podcast. But I knew that this was a test and initiation. So don't let these things hold you back, because it just means you're on the right path. Leaders are, this is a mentor of mine says this, Melanie, leaders are bridges and bridges are tested. And I was like, whoa, every big, like even when I did, oh God, I remember doing my shamanic training and I like manifested the money, but it literally, I had to transfer it to a friend in Florida because I couldn't pay from like my Canadian account. It was so crazy. The money like literally disappeared. It disappeared into the ethers. And like that, it could have been like, I'm not supposed to do this training, but it was like, no, we're going to figure this out. And like, it was the crazy, I've never had a wire transfer disappear. Like, how does this even happen? But things like this, it's not a sign that you're not, it's a sign you're on path, not that you're off path. So that is just what I want to leave everybody with, because I see this stop so many people and they give up right before the biggest breakthrough. It's like the dude who, there was like gold a foot away or whatever. That story. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad we made this happen.
Yes, me too. I am so grateful for the conversation, Jill. Thank you so much. I really, truly appreciate you.
Likewise.
Once again, my name is Brad Walsh, host of your Empowerography podcast. Today, my guest has been Jill Nixon. She is a Shamanic Prosperity Mentor, the founder of Jai Breathwork and Soul Activations, certified in over 14 modalities, including quantum energy healing, intuition, shamanism, clinical hypnosis, just to name a few. Thanks so much, Jill. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.
Thank you so much, Brad. Appreciate it. You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much for listening to this podcast. If you haven't yet, please be sure to subscribe, rate, review, and share with all your friends. You can find me at visiophoria.ca, follow me on Instagram at Empowerography Podcast, and on Facebook at Empowerography. Please join me next time for another inspirational story from yet another amazing woman.